But y'all just let me know, man, if something pops up. But yeah, this is the first time streaming on YouTube, so just getting the hang of things. So thank y'all for bearing with me. Uh, but yeah, this is just to hang out with you guys for a little bit, guys and gals, and to ask questions and whatnot, and just to kick back and just chill and just keep the community thriving, man. Keep it going. I know I get a lot of questions coming my way all the time, and most of the time I'm answering these questions privately, one on one, like an email or Facebook Messenger or tweets and whatnot. But I think it would be good to start answering some of these questions in front of everybody, so everybody can benefit from those questions. You feel me? What do y'all say? It says offline. He is offline. Is it tripping on y'all's end again? Saying everything's going on my end. Okay. Keep going, keep going. So yeah, just to give y'all a quick recap, man, what have I been up to? I haven't uploaded a video for a minute on YouTube. Just been doing a lot of works behind the scenes, doing a lot of one-on-one coaching with students, working on full projects. Actually got a few projects dropping the 1st of January. So that's going to be major. And just working with a lot of different artists from all over the world on all different types of things. And just doing a lot of mixing, just a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And, when it comes to my videos on YouTube, when it comes to my tutorials, them things take a lot of time. I spend a lot of time and effort, and nobody else would know that. They just see the final finished product. But I mean, it's nothing for me to spend 4 weeks or more on some of these videos, just doing research, figuring out, how to put together a really clear presentation to the point in a way that's interesting and that people can grasp, that's not speaking over them, trying to speak to people right where they're at. So I haven't rushed to try to just throw something together, just to throw it up, just to try to get some views and stuff, because that's not what my channel is about. It's all about helping all of you out there. I want to deliver content that's better than, any other paid products out there on how to rap. That's my goal. So I want to give y'all my best. So if you don't see an upload from me, that's why. I haven't forgot about any of y'all out there. And I look forward next year to hopefully doing a lot more tutorials. There's so many things I want to share in depth. But I figured by doing these hangouts, y'all can just shot fire questions at me. I can answer whatever questions you may have. So you don't have to wait maybe until a in-depth tutorial or whatever. You can just ask me right now and I can give you my thoughts and things of that nature. What else is new? It's probably a little over 2 months now, started a private Facebook group called Freestyle Friday. Something I've been doing for a little over a year now is every Friday I'll throw together like a Freestyle Friday video. And it's just something for me just to kind of challenge myself, stay active as a rapper, as an artist, and just to have fun and just, share it with my fans and friends and family and whatnot. And one of my students was just asking me one day, like, man, it would be cool if you could just pick a beat and we could all rap over it every Friday. I was like, man, that's a pretty good idea. So I put together a private group for Freestyle Friday. And we've, in 7 weeks, a little bit longer now, a little over 2 months, we've grown to almost 400 people in this group. So if any of y'all want to join that, actually, I'll just type it here in the chat right here. You can just go here. I'll put it in the video description after we wrap up, and you can check it out. But you can just go here, and it will add you to this portion of my newsletter where you'll get the instrumentals every week. And I send out instrumentals a week ahead of time. So for an example, this Friday, I'll be sending out the instrumental for the following Friday. So you have a week to come up with something if you want to participate. But here's the link right here. All right. And other than that, that's about it. We can go ahead and just straight up get in it. Everybody, I got my my awesome moderator, Monica, is in the chat. Shouts out to her for being the moderator and helping get these questions filed for me so I can start answering questions for y'all. And let me just go ahead and check out what we got going on in here. Let's see. Daddy Payne 24 says, "Hey Cole, what's the best and easiest way to make a hook?" Man, I get this question all the time. And the thing is about a hook is there's no set way that you make a hook. A hook just changes from song to song. It really depends on what type of song it is. For an example, if you're rapping to a song that has a lot of melody in it, like a lot of instruments and melodies and things of that nature, then you may want to make a melodic hook, something that's almost like you're singing to it. If it's more of a rhythmic heavy beat, you may do something more rhythmic or more rap like in the hook. Thank you, Monica. So it really depends on the song. There's no just set way that you quote unquote write a hook. A hook sometimes should be general, so you're not constrained by the hook in what you're writing from verse 1, 2, and 3. It can be somewhat general, something that a lot of people could relate to. The hook should carry the song. The hook should be easy to learn. It shouldn't be too complex. Those are just general guidelines as far as how you can come up with a hook. Another really important thing to consider when you're coming up with a hook is what key is the song in. And if you don't know about keys and stuff like that, you may want to just do like a YouTube search for how to find the key of a song, because if you're doing anything melodic, then you need to know what the key of the song. If you're a producer and you're wanting to produce for another artist, the first thing that you need to do is figure out what that person's vocal range is, because you're going to need to build the pitch, the keys, and everything around that person's vocal. And so that's really important too, to keep in mind, is if you're doing anything melodic, you need to know what key the song is in. Unless you're just really good, have a really good trained ear for pitch, then you may be fine, but just something to keep in mind. So in summary, there's no quote unquote way that you write a hook. A hook can be anything. But at the end of the day, you should ask yourself, does this hook serve the song? Does the hook carry the song on? Is it exciting? Do I enjoy hearing it? Because this is the most repetitive part of the song. Every song, the hook is a full chunk of every song. If you think about it, it's typically repeated 3 to 4 times. So it's the most repetitious thing that you hear. So it needs to be catchy. There needs to be a payoff every time you hear it. So those are just a few things to keep in mind. All right. Next question comes from Daddy Payne 24. How can I make my brain think of more rhymes quicker while freestyling? That's a good question. I actually did write an article that was talking about this. And really the trick, at least how I like to think about it, is it's really based on your accessible memory that you have. That may sound a little technical. I'm thinking in computer terms, but the more words that you can recall, the easier it'll be for you to freestyle, and also the quicker you'll be able to write your rhymes when you're actually writing a song. So what I recommend doing is creating something called what I call rhymes, to where you come up with a word. Let's say procrastinate. Let's say that's the word, procrastinate. You write procrastinate down. And then you try to come up with as many words or combinations of words that you can that rhymes with that. And then you memorize that. So like procrastinate. So fast to hate. Then you can come up with like near rhymes and stuff like interrogate, insinuate, things of that nature. Create lists around words. And think of words that are common too. Like if you're thinking about freestyling, think about things that you are likely to see when you're freestyling. For an example, someone's wearing a hat. You could come up with a rhyme list that have to do with hat or snapback or new era, or different team names, Chicago. The possibilities are endless as far as what you can come up with. So think of that. Think of creating rhyme lists, and then what you do is you just go back and you just continue to do these drills where you're just kind of going through and memorizing. And that's the way that you're going to be able to recall a lot more words quickly when you're freestyling. And as you said, make your brain think of more rhymes quicker. It's really all about what's already there. And it's just like any other sport, really, if you think about it. The way you get really good at something is just memory. Whether that's fighting or playing the keyboard or whatever. It's all about like muscle memory and being able to recall stuff really fast, being very familiar with what you're doing. So it's really no different when it comes to freestyle, in my opinion. You want to get as many words on your internal memory banks as possible. And if you think about it, you know how somebody may ask you like, hey, do you remember, once upon a time back 5 years ago when this happened? And you may think about it, and now that they said that, it's bringing you're accessing that your brain. And now that you're accessing this information, been there all along, but you haven't thought about it. You completely forgot about it, but it's still there. And by that person saying it, it's brought that back up to your memory, and now you're accessing it. And now you're also accessing a lot of different memories that surround it. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. And before that, this happened. And then after that, that was crazy what happened after that. And so it's the same type of concept. So hopefully that helps you out there. Josh Hayes asked me, who's your favorite rapper? Good gosh. Favorite rapper? That's tough. Favorite rapper? I don't know if I have one favorite rapper. There's so many rappers that, and I know that sounds like a cop-out question. There's so many favorite rappers. I mean, there's so many awesome rappers out there. Man, favorite rapper, that's tough. Because I like rappers for different reasons. For an example, Tupac. When I think of Tupac, I think of just heart. I think of someone who stood for something, someone who had a message, who wasn't afraid to speak their mind, wasn't afraid to maybe offend a few people, somebody who was about activism and making a positive change in the world. Sometimes me being a quote unquote fan of a rapper is not even always about their music. A lot of times it's about who they are as a person. I would say Eminem's another one of my favorite, not just because of all the different abilities lyrically, his story writing or storytelling, his rhyme schemes, the way he puts humor into his songs, imagery where he can almost rap something and it's almost like a video's playing in your head because he's so descriptive. There's a lot of different, I like the way he manipulates his voice, and there's a lot of different things that he does that I really enjoy. I may not care for a whole bunch of the content as much as I did when I was younger, now being of age, being a young man. But I have a ton of respect for his craft. He's incredible. And I'll just name one more, Andre 3000 from Outkast. Just amazing. When I think of him, I just think of classy, intellectual, witty, smooth, lyrical. So those are just a few out the top. Appreciate it, Jonas. I'm glad something I'm saying is making sense. You never know. I just speak my mind, and hopefully it'll stick somewhere. Corey Christopherson asks, I'm curious to know, what are your thoughts on trap music, mumble stuff and whatnot? Give me some examples of some of the rappers today that you're into. I can't say that I'm into any of what you would consider mumble rappers. To me, mumble rappers is exactly what I do when I'm scatting. If y'all ever go back and listen to my videos of me scatting, that's essentially what's going on. But, my thoughts on trap music, there's a market for everything, man. Like Lil Yachty is somebody who's coming up all the time. Everybody, I mean, he's constantly, there's constantly headlines, like controversial headlines, where he's like, not showing like homage or respect to like hip hop legends, saying stuff like he's never even listened to Biggie and things of that nature, which is, I mean, cool. You don't have to, but this is my thing. Even if I don't necessarily respect or love their music, one thing I do have to respect and admire is their work ethic. Because let me tell you, building a buzz and making a living in the music industry is not easy. It's certainly possible, but it's not easy. And just because you're talented doesn't mean you're going to be successful. You have to have a strong work ethic to go along with that talent. And what you're seeing is you're seeing people who may not be as talented, but they got the strong work ethic, and then you see things popping off. So if anything, I don't think these things should discourage anybody. If anything, I think it should encourage you. Like, look, there's a lot of open room for you to come in here and really make some waves if you're a talented rapper. Because look at the stuff that is successful. So I guess that's my that. Modern day rappers that I'm into. Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Logic, Action Bronson. Those are just a few off the top. But there's a lot, man. With that being said about mumble rap, there's so many talented rappers that are out right now, new rappers that are out right now. And thanks to the digital age, anybody now can release, singles and start putting stuff out there and start pushing it. So that's a really good thing. And I've talked about this in the past, so I won't go too far into all that, but it's a good thing. It just means there has to be more of a filter now because anybody can release anything. And so you have to kind of dig for those really talented artists. Yes, Logic is a beast. And I love how Logic carries himself. I was a fan of Logic before I really even heard his music because I just seen him on the Breakfast Club, and I was like, you know what? This guy seems like he has a really good head on his shoulders. I want to check out what his music is talking about. Exactly, Daddy Payne. He said it's never too late as long as you put the effort in each day to perfect your lyrical craft. I agree, man. I agree. So, yeah, I can't be upset or mad at mumble rappers. Hey, man, if they are able to establish a fan base and earn a living doing what they do, I got nothing but respect for that. I'd rather them be doing that than be out here doing something illegal on the streets or putting their family or their life in danger and whatnot. I know enough people who are doing bad to where I can truly rejoice when I see somebody doing something good and positive for themselves. So I can't hate on them. You know what I'm saying? Good for them. It ain't easy to build a buzz. Is my audio and everything still coming through? I'm hearing like a little bit of popping on my end. Do y'all hear any popping with my audio? Like, so let me know. Aplytic said Logic is my favorite rapper ever. Yeah, Logic is dope, man. Okay, so let me see. The reporter of the week. The reporter of the week asks, how do you grow as an artist and expand your music across the web? Well, I'm not sure what you mean by grow as an artist, if you're just meaning skill-wise or if you're meaning fan base and buzz-wise. I'm assuming you're talking about buzz-wise because you follow that up with expand your music across the web. My advice, if you wanted to grow a fan base on the internet, is you first need to identify who are you, what are your interests. That's the most important thing. If you figure that out, you're already going to have a pretty good idea who your target market is. For example, your target market is probably something close to your age. It's probably something close to what you're already interested in too. Like if you're a big gamer, look at the other subcultures that you're already invested in. Like if you're a big gamer, you may be like big on Twitch TV, you may be into like IGN.com and things of that nature. The thing about music is like just about everybody likes music. So what you want to do is try to figure out what your niche is. Who are you? What's your sound? That type of thing. And then really from there, of course we have platforms like YouTube and SoundCloud and things of that nature. You definitely want to get your stuff there. You can utilize keywords. You can do keyword research. You can figure out what's trending topics on the internet if you want to put something together really fast and kind of ride one of these trendings. That's a good way to get some exposure, and that's short term. All that stuff is short term, but still, nonetheless. But long term, what you really want to do is you want to start really kind of building a list up of, all the magazines, online magazines, online, blogs, online radio stations, even DJs, just any place where they may want to talk about your or share your music. People, anybody who's interested in music and they're actively sharing music, you want to look at those places and do not spam them, because that's not going to get you anywhere. If anything, it's really going to hurt you in the long run, because these people get, submissions all the time. And respect them. You know what I'm saying? Be personable. Like, be a human being. Send them a message. Take the time to look at who they are, what they're into, that type of thing. Try to establish some type of common ground with them before just trying to, force your music down their throat. Think of this like, building relationships. Think of like the industry as like you going to school, a new school for the first time, and you don't know anybody. The way that you become popular in that school is you have to start one relationship at a time. You start building relationships and building rapport with your school. And I kind of have that same theory when it comes to the music industry. It's about being, about building relationships and taking the time out to reach out to people, start conversations, get involved in conversations. Another thing you can do is you can start looking at an artist that's similar to you, and you can start following their followers on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and start interacting with them. Once again, not being spammy. One thing I hate is when someone sends me a friend request on Facebook and I accept it, and the first thing they do is send me a message or post on my wall promoting their music. You know what happens? I automatically delete them. I have nothing to say to them because they obviously don't even care about me as a person. So why am I friends with you on Facebook? So, what's up, Kel? Welcome, bro. So that's my thoughts on that. And just, in addition to that, just do some learning, do some searching on internet marketing. Just look that up and just look at what other people are talking about internet marketing. But that's just some stuff in there. Did you ever K-Waz says, do you ever heard German rap? Yes, I have. Actually, one of the producers that I've worked with in the past is actually from Germany. So I've heard it. I don't understand it, obviously, because I speak English. But but yeah, what's up, Mikey in the house? What's up, bro? So we got questions coming in. Okay, so Pepsi Max asks, how can I freestyle better? So I've already touched on that earlier. Feel free you can go back and watch the earlier part of the broadcast. But just in summary, focus on building you some rhyme lists. Recall those rhyme lists often. And that's really that's going to also help you with songwriting too. It'll help you come up with rhymes faster. And also just doing exercises like look around you and look what's around you and make note of, okay, how many, like I see a speaker in front of me. How many times, how many things can I rhyme with speaker? I see some sunshades, I see a keyboard, just normal stuff you see all the time. Just start cataloging all these things and just come up with rhymes with them. That'll really help you out greatly, and just go back and be disciplined with it and continue to build upon that list and refresh it. Nathan Del Rio asks, do you check every 4 bars? Typically, yes. Every 4 bars or earlier. The number one fundamental to rapping. Does anybody in here know what the number one fundamental to rapping is that I say in my ebook? It's a little pop quiz. Take a pause for the calls. See how big this jug is my wife got me, man? I can go out in the desert for a month and be ready. Anybody? The number one fundamental to rapping is create dynamics and create them often as possible. What are dynamics? Dynamics are things that change. It's just like a movie. Just imagine watching a movie. There's so many dynamics from the start to the finish. There's highs, there's lows, there's parts where you don't know what's going to happen. They throw you curveballs. There's parts that are full of action. There's parts that are really slow and that things just kind of calm down. So when it comes to changing your flow, let me say this too about flow, okay? So you'll hear me say flow and cadence. And a lot of times we'll think of those as the same thing. And I guess you could say that, but this is how I think of flow. I think of cadence is kind of like a zoomed in view of what you're doing from bar to bar. Like cadence is like, okay, how are you moving around in this bar? I think of flow as a zoomed out view of how all those different cadences connect together. That's how I think of flow. Almost like box cars on a train, because that's what it's really all about, is how your bars relate to one another. How do they tie in with one another? How does the last bar of your verse tie in with the hook? How does your hook tie back into the following verse? So I think a flow is kind of like the zoomed out view of all the cadences flow in together. Josh Hayes asked, do you like Lupe Fiasco, King Los, and Kendrick Lamar? I haven't heard anything from King Los, but yeah, Lupe Fiasco and Kendrick Lamar are really dope. Casey said, for my last album, I found most of my beats on YouTube because it's so easy to put keywords in for what kind of beat you want, but is there any other site that is keyword search? A lot of beats, like beat websites, like I think BeatStars. Then you have myflashstore.net. You also have Beat Brokers. Those are all sites that are like hubs. SoundClick, that's an old school one, but they're still around. That's one where you can go and search, but their search criteria is a little bit different, because there is you can search by maybe what type of sound it is, like what type of, is it hip hop? What type of hip hop is it? Is it old school, underground, trap? You can also search by tempo, even mood. Is it happy? Is it crunk? Is it whatever? There's a lot of different search functions. All the producers don't do an amazing job at filling out all that information that helps it be filtered through the searches all the time. So just keep that in mind, but it works pretty well though. It works pretty well. So, I.E. Keish asks, what do you do for practice, Cole? If you're asking specifically as a rapper, because I do a lot of different things. Rapping is just one of the things that I do. But I would say when it comes to practice, honestly, me, it's just, like when I do these Freestyle Fridays, that's almost like practice to me. What I typically do is Thursday evening, I just give myself a small amount of time. And I say, look, you have 30 to 45 minutes. Come up with 8 really dope bars. Not just throwaway bars. Come up with some really good bars. And then the following Friday, and then once I come up with those, I just forget about it. I save it in my phone. Then Friday, I give myself like an hour to memorize it. And that's a good practice for me, because it puts a lot of pressure on me in a short amount of time. So that, as far as practice, I'd probably say that's what I'm doing for practice. Because I'm not much of, I don't really consider myself a quote unquote like off the dome freestyler. I'm a writer. I love writing. I'm a songwriter at heart. I always have been. And, but at the same time, there's development opportunities or development goals I have for myself that I want to continue to grow in, because you should never stop growing. No matter how good you are, you should always be studying and learning more so you keep evolving. So, I want to get deeper into songwriting. I want to study stuff from like Stephen King. Because songwriting is no different than, telling a story like in a movie or in a novel. It's all writing. It's all getting your ideas out and the different ways that you can do that. So I would also say studying is a part of my practice. Cole, what's the best way to improve pronunciation of words for rapping? Daddy Payne 24 asked. I would say give yourself the proper amount of space to pronunciate your words. That's something I see happen often and that's a good question, because let me just share this with you. Okay, so your syllables are notes. When I say notes, like y'all seen videos of me talking about the 4, 8, and the 16 count. Those are just, sharing you different notes as well. The 4 count is quarter notes. The 8 count is eighth notes. The 16 count is 16th notes. And as you know, there's 16 16th notes in one bar. Okay. Now, if you were to rap using 16 syllables in a bar, then you're going to probably sound like a robot. Unless it's a really slow trap beat and you got just a lot of room within that bar for those 16th notes. But so think of it like this. There's 3 ways that we fill in each bar. the most obvious way that we fill in each bar is how many syllables do we use, right? So a good healthy number of syllables, because I get asked this all the time as well, is anywhere between, let's say, 11 to 13 to 14 syllables. That's still like, because typically people rap at like a 16th count speed. So that still gives you like 2 to 3 16th notes to either breathe, take a pause, or, which brings up my next point, or stress or pronunciate your syllables. So that's the other way that we fill in each bar. Is that it's not just about how many syllables that you use, but it's also how much space do those syllables require, because all syllables aren't created equal. For an example, the word go, 1 syllable. The word strike, 1 syllable. But do you hear how much longer I needed to actually emphasize strike than go? That's my point. Is even though they're syllables, they're both one syllable apiece, they require different amounts of space. So to answer your question, that's how you need to improve your pronunciation, is by giving yourself the proper amount of space to emphasize those syllables that need to be pronounced. So just something to keep in mind. So let me, still got some more questions coming in. What's the Casey asks, what's the best way to sell CDs? Well, one thing you got to realize is CDs is on the decline, especially up north and on the West Coast. CDs are a lot less relevant. So that's something you need to keep in mind if you're trying to sell CDs, is you want to look at your local market and see, like, are a lot of people still using CDs? I mean, just look at maybe like your closest 5 to 10 friends and look at how many of them are buying CDs or using CDs. Typically now we're streaming. You know, I'm streaming right now on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people are using like Spotify and Rhapsody and iTunes and, you know, iHeartRadio and things of that nature to stream. And so just something to keep in mind. You know, if you're wanting to sell music, you may want to think about, does it need to be CDs or does it need to be maybe download cards that you're selling? Look into download cards. But, you know, when it comes to selling CDs, I mean, it's kind of hard. It's a hard sell just to go up to a stranger on the street and try to sell him one of your CDs because he doesn't even know you. You're trying to convert him into a fan, like right there on the spot. I mean, I'm not saying you can't do it, but I think CDs right now, unless you're doing a show and you're selling merchandise and you have your CDs there, if I were to use CDs right now, I'd mainly use it for promotional purposes because there's still a lot of CDs in vehicles. But even vehicles are starting to come without CD players, just like laptops are starting to come without CD drives, and you know what I'm saying? So something to keep in mind. Jimmy asks, yo, I learned a lot from your videos and I'm getting better in writing. Awesome. Glad to hear that. But I feel like I'm using too many rhymes, which is getting boring. How can I surprise my audience? So you're using too many rhymes, which is getting boring. I wonder, because me personally, I'm a fan of rhymes. I mean, the more rhymes I can get, the better. You need to ask yourself, is it the rhymes that are boring, or is it what you're saying that's boring? You can do too much of anything can be a bad thing. You can literally drink too much water and die. I say this often, but it's true. Look it up. You want to balance things out. What you need to ask yourself is, are you entertained? Entertaining meaning, are you captivated? Is that body of work holding your attention? There's many things that hold your attention other than just rhyming, such as a good storyline, such as writing in such a way to where it keeps that listener hooked for what's going to happen next. For an example, instead of you just saying, hey, it was a beautiful day, instead write it in such a way where you make the listener say, wow, that sounds like that was a beautiful day. Okay? So rhyming is just one aspect of rapping. You also have your cadences. How are you flowing? Is that changing at all? You know, how about your rhyme schemes? Where are you rhyming yet? Is it the same rhyme pattern that you've created? Because when you switch your cadences up, you can also switch up your rhyme patterns as well. Also, pay attention to your voice, your rap voice, your delivery. How's that changing? What are you saying, and does your energy and your voice match what's actually being said? Those are really how you can surprise your audience. Is going back to the number one fundamental to rapping, which y'all are going to hear me say all the time: create dynamics and create them as often as possible, because you want to keep people guessing, but you also want to create patterns long enough to where they can follow along with you and make sense of it. And I think doing things in even numbers is a good practice in rapping, because we as people, we make sense of even things. So if you think about it, there's 4 beats in a bar. There's typically 16 bars in a verse. There's typically 8 bars in a hook. You can see how these patterns are even numbers. So you can keep your rhyme schemes for even numbers, or for even bars when you have a certain type of rhyme scheme. You can switch it up maybe every 2 bars or every 4 bars. And you can switch your cadence up as often as you want to as well. I mean, your cadence can change every 2 to 4 bars, or you can even switch it up slightly even after a bar. So just play around and experiment. I think it's good that you're asking that question. And also study other rappers that you think do a really good job of keeping you entertained. Ask yourself, what are they doing that I'm not quite doing so well? And make note of it and start implementing what you're picking up from them that you enjoy, and start implementing that into your own rhymes. All right. Kel Hurst, what's up, brother? Kel been killing it in Freestyle Friday. Whew. Telling y'all need to get on that. Yo, how do you freestyle and actually make sense, man? I feel like it's so hard to stay on topic when attempting to freestyle, not to mention keeping the rhymes relevant. That's a good question. Kel, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about, and you may not have been in here yet, so you may want to go back and check that out because I spoke about it at length. But I recommend creating something that I call rhyme lists. And it's basically just a list of rhymes that you create for all the words you can possibly imagine. And that will allow you to think of your rhymes quicker, because that's the last thing you need to do when you're freestyling off the top of your dome, is be thinking about words to rhyme with. Pretty much already have them for the most part, because really when you're freestyling, you really got to be thinking like a bar ahead. So as you're rapping whatever bar you're saying, you got to already be thinking about what's the next rhyme going to be, or what's the next bar going to be, So, I don't really consider myself a off the dome freestyle rapper. I can freestyle, but it's not something that I'm actively trying to pursue, just because battling is not my thing. It's fun. It's something I did a lot in high school and, stuff like that. Cause just what we did, but now I'm more focused on songwriting. And I think really, Kel, I think it's just, I think that's just a matter of practicing too, man. Like, try recording yourself freestyling by yourself, because there's something that just triggers in your mind when you hit the record button, even though no one may see it because you're not sharing it with anybody. But just like hitting record puts that extra bit of pressure on you, it can cause your mind to think a little bit harder, But I just say, honestly, just practice, man. Just often as you can, look around you. Just think of all the different things that are around you. Think about, how can I rhyme with them? And let's keep in mind too, y'all, let's just be real about this. A lot of the freestyles that y'all see on TV and stuff like that, see, let's just talk about this. Freestyle can mean several different things. Freestyle can mean it's off the dome, or freestyle can also mean that you have a written lyrics that you're prepared to rap over any beat or without a beat at all. And y'all, if y'all want to follow that up, y'all go look up Big Daddy Kane. Search Big Daddy Kane talking about freestyle, and he'll tell you how people was freestyling back in the day on the streets. And so there's a lot of written freestyles that people may think it's just off the dome. And there's some people that go off the dome and it sounds like a written freestyle. Trust me, I know people personally myself that can rap like that. That's not personally my thing. I'm personally pursuing myself, but it's just, I just think it's a lot of work, Kel. And and I don't know, man, it could be a brain thing too, man. Like someone who's done too many drugs in their life. Hey, I'm just being real. Freestyling like that may not be their thing off the dome, I'm gonna switch over to some questions people have already previously asked me through email, because I'm getting a lot still in here. But Sam wanted to ask, how much is my one-on-one coaching? So currently my one-on-one coaching service is $30 per hour, but that's going to change starting January the 1st. So if anybody's wanting to get coaching at the current rate, just go ahead and take advantage of it now. How do you get started as a beginning rapper? I think the most important thing to start off as a rapper is you need to work on your rhythm, being able to establish your rhythm, and being able to maintain your rhythm to any beat. That's where you should start. Until you can do that, focus on that, and then you can move on to things like creating cadences and things of that nature. But I would recommend just starting with my playlist on my YouTube channel. Just start with my playlist. It's entitled How to Rap a Verse, and there's 3 videos in that, and it breaks down all the fundamentals for you, and it's so good. I put a lot of work into those. So check those out and take your time. Don't rush through the videos. If you may need to watch a video 15 or 20 times before you catch everything, and that's okay. That's the beauty of being able to learn off of YouTube. But start there. And feel free always to just hit me up with questions that you have along the way. How do you get your name and music out there? That's a big topic. I've touched on this earlier about online. So I'll just touch on the offline portion of it. I follow someone named Wendy Day on YouTube. I've shared her on my mailing list with everybody. Check her out if you want, because I cannot do this questions like she can, and that's what she specializes in on her channel. If you just type in Wendy Day on YouTube, you'll come across her channel. She does actually, she's doing a live stream right now, I think, starting in about 10 minutes, I think. But check out her channel. It's really good stuff, man. See, Tanya or Tanyi, I may be butchering that. I'm sorry. Is it bad to be a producer and still be a rapper? Because I'm not so good at production. So it's not bad to be a producer and a rapper. I'm a producer and a rapper. So here's the thing. When it comes to production, when it comes to producing, you need to ask yourself, is that something that you really want to do? Is that something you're really passionate about? Because if it's not, then you're just wasting your time and hurting the quality of your own music. Because if you're not really passionate about producing, then why not just pay someone else to produce for you that's already developed their skills in that, and that way your songs won't suffer due to bad production. And you are interested in it, then get busy learning how to produce. Compare, try to recreate popular beats that you like. That's a great way to start. Also check the YouTube channel, Busy Works Beats. It's a great YouTube channel. Lots of really good information. He's super duper active on there. And check him out. But no, there's nothing wrong with being a producer and a rapper. Look at Kanye West, look at Big Crit, look at Dr. Dre. I mean, there's Manny Fresh. There's a lot of Hobson. There's a lot of people who rap and produce over their own beats. Hobson's another dope local, modern day artist. Austin asked, how do I pick a good rap name? How do people come up with them? A good rap name is subjective because a lot of people make fun of people's rap names. Little this, young this. A lot of people get their rap names by nicknames they've been called their whole life. Some people use their own names. I use my own name. I haven't always used my own name. I used to have a rap name that I feel like I kind of outgrew. I feel like I just don't feel like this fits me anymore. So the most important thing, though, that you need to keep in mind when you're picking a rap name is you need to make sure no one else is using that rap name. And a good way to do that is go type in your awesome rap name that you come up with and go like yourrapname.com, whatever your rap name is, .com. And then go on Twitter and see if that Twitter handle is available. Go on YouTube. Go around to all the different social media sites and see if that's taken. Because if it is, it's not a good rap name to choose because someone's already taken that digital real estate, and you probably should consider coming up with something else. And you also, because you want to make sure all your social media is the same. If you search for me anywhere on the internet, other than Snapchat, because I'm not on Snapchat, but you go anywhere else, just type in Coal Mine Studios and you'll come right to me. That's really important when you're coming out with your brand or your logo or your name, that it's consistent across all platforms. Okay. I want to rap about the same topic multiple times in many different ways, but I don't want to because it'll be too repetitive and seem like I'm obsessed in a way. What should I do? So you said I want to rap about the same topic, but then you say I don't want to. So which one is it? Do you want to or not? I mean, you sound conflicted. Um, Obviously, it's something that you're dealing with, something that you're dealing a lot with, and you're trying to vent it out, and it's unresolved, so you want to keep talking about it. Writing is therapeutic. You don't have to write for other people all the time. You can write for yourself. You can make songs that are just for you. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you want to rap about the same topic multiple times, then just talk about it from different angles. Like touch on things that you hadn't touched on before. You just have to find a unique way to present it so it's still fresh. I feel like stealing Logic's flow. Or no, he said I feel like I'm stealing Logic's flow because it sounds so similar to his. It's just the way I prefer to rap, but he's my greatest inspiration. I rap and rap, or the way I write and rap sounds like his. Is that good or bad? I mean, if you think you sound like it exactly like Logic, then that's probably not a good thing. There's nothing wrong with rappers influencing you, but you should try to put your own spin on things. I mean, honestly though, like don't, ask other people, ask other people's opinion too, because you may think that may be something internally you think for yourself, but get a second opinion on it and see what other people are saying. But don't bite other rappers. Don't bite other rappers. Don't try to copy other rappers. Learn from other rappers. Study other rappers. Learn from them and apply the techniques you're picking up from them for your own raps and make it your own and put your own spin on it, because rapping in and of itself is not original. Hip hop's been going on for, nearly over, like right at 40 years. Hip hop's been going on. So just the fact that you're rapping is not original at all. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's so many different cadences and flows and stuff you can use, but I mean, it's not like rappers have a patent on these flows. And it's not like they're the first person to ever flow like that either. I mean, how many rappers is out here that you haven't heard? So there's no way, that you can think that everything you're doing is just 100% unique to you when no one else has done it before. And so don't be afraid to let other rappers influence you, but don't copy them. Put your own spin on it. Take several rappers that you like and just take something from each one and throw them all together and see what happens. And it doesn't even have to just be rappers. You can take country music singers, techno, dubstep, EDM, alternative rock, jazz, funk, soul, whatever. Take pieces of everything and just throw them all together and see what happens. I want to flow. I want to be able to freestyle, but the thoughts don't flow to my head, and I can't think of anything, or I lose the flow. Then going, and it just crashes. So I talked about this earlier about the thoughts and coming up with ideas and things of that nature. So I won't talk about that again. But the flow part, this is where it's good for you to scat. Now, scatting is something I do all the time. You can throw on any instrumental, I can just instantly start scatting to it. It's not a problem. That's what I do. Learning how to scat will allow you to easily adapt to any beat that's played. That's another major aspect to freestyling, is you gotta know how to maneuver with your cadences, with your flow. And you don't always know what the next word's gonna be. And so you have to improvise. If it doesn't land on the beat exactly, like on the end of the beat, then you have to improvise and maybe drag it over intentionally and now try to match that same rhyme scheme with the next bar or whatever. But I would say scatting is my best advice if you're wanting to get better at coming up with the flow and stuff like that. Scatting is the way to go, and it's just practice. Check out my video on creating cadences, and follow the steps in that video, and I think that'll help you out a lot. I keep doubting my lyrics and topics. Is that normal? Yeah, insecurity. We all have them. The thing is, I mean, your stuff is not for everybody. Everyone's not going to like your stuff. So just take that pressure off of yourself, right? Don't worry about it. Be yourself, put yourself out there, and let the chips fall where they may. I don't think my voice is meant for rapping. I really hate my voice, and I'm nervous to even attempt to record because I dislike it. How do I know if I should rap or not? You should rap if you feel inclined to. That's why you should rap. If you feel like you have something to say and you want to do it through the medium of rap, then you should rap. Okay? Everybody who raps doesn't have to be famous or be on, major outlets and all that stuff. If you want to do something, I think you should do it first because you love it. That period. Forget everything else. Forget all that other stuff. If you enjoy something, do it. If you find joy in doing something and you're not hurting nobody else, do it. Why not? Why wouldn't you do it if you enjoy it? That's my opinion on that. And as far as your voice and stuff like that goes, man, a lot of people don't like the way their voice sounds. I know I don't. I don't think my voice sounds amazing. I don't think I sound amazing, but I still get on the track and spit some fire. So forget about all them insecurities, man. Like, just, what I'm saying, put yourself out there. And, what really connects with people is your heart. That's one thing I love about Tupac. What I love about DMX. No matter what, like, DMX is going through and stuff like that, I have no doubt when I'm hearing him speak, he's speaking his heart. You know what I'm saying? If you be real with yourself and you be real on your songs and you put your heart into it, I guarantee you it's going to connect with people. Remember I said that. And trust me, there's been rappers in the past that sound really funny. Man, like Slick Rick. Look at like Slick Rick and what's that dude, the Humpty Dumpty or whatever. I gotta sound like this and he rap like this. I'm sure people make fun of him, but these are legends in hip hop, man. Like, it don't even matter. Kendrick Lamar gets made fun of all the time for the way he sounds. A lot of people say they don't like Kendrick Lamar because of the way he sounds, but guess what? A lot of people love Kendrick Lamar. We've been talking about Kendrick in here. So hopefully that encourages you. I can't think of things most people rap about. Like, I don't think the same. I can rap about love and breakups and emotions and stuff, but I don't know if that would work or if people would. I can rap about normal stuff to a certain extent, though. So once again, Austin, I think you're just too concerned with what everybody else thinks. Screw what everybody else thinks. Opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has them, and opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has one, and they all stink. So forget it, man. Rap, but just be you, man. Who are you? Who are you? Just be yourself in music. That's all you got to do, man. Whatever that is. Forget what you think everybody likes, man. Just be you, man. Screw all that. Austin G says, I spent a lot of time and money recording on beats I leased off YouTube. I made some connections since then, and they recommend I get the exclusives to whatever I can because I have all intent of putting a lot into marketing and hitting mainstream. Which is fine, paying $150 to $200 for exclusive rights, but some of these guys ask me for like $1,000, which is just not doable or justified. But then they offer something called an unlimited lease for $100 to $200. It makes sense. They keep selling, which seems to be their ultimate goal. Is just 30 a pop at large quantities on people leasing. But is that a real thing? How much can that stand if my music does get big, etc.? I don't know how to explain this, but there's a lot of confusion on my end. Good question, Austin. So the thing is, leasing, let's just talk about the purpose of leasing beats. Leasing is for new artists. Leasing is for people who are wanting to create mixtapes, not commercial albums. Albums are for commercial use. Mixtapes, demos, you can even call some EPs and things of that nature. Those can be used for leased beats. And the thing is, when you use a leased beat, is you don't own the beat. The producer owns the beat. Therefore, you're limited to what you can do with that beat. So for an example, if you were to, you couldn't just go to like EA Sports and get your song put in a video game because you don't have permission to actually sign over rights for that music. And so you're limited to what you can do. And to your point, you have, hundreds or even thousands of other people still using that same beat. And so I think leasing beats are primarily for you building your fan base, getting your start. Now you have permission to sell your music using leased beats, but you just don't have permission to do commercial things with it. Like I said, getting it in commercials or video games, and even some of them will restrict you from getting radio play. But the thing is, what you have to understand, you have to flip this around and look at it from the producer standpoint. A producer, if they make this amazing fire beat, and they feel like this beat has the potential to be the next Panda song, right? Why would they sell that to an artist that they don't know? Even if it is for $200 or $300, that's a huge risk on their part, because what if that artist is not even going to do nothing with that song? What if that artist is just going to record it in their mom's basement using a $5 microphone, ain't going to mix it, just going to throw it together, throw it on SoundCloud, and say they released their new single? Don't promote it, just spam everybody on Facebook and stuff like that. Then that song gets no exposure. So that's not good for anybody. Yeah, the producer made $200 or $300, but that's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket, because a producer is really banking on the back end. A producer, they're thinking long term, because the thing is, even if you bought exclusive rights from a producer, they still have rights to the publishing of that song, because producing a beat is considered songwriting. A lot of times we think of songwriting as only writing lyrics, but also songwriting is composing music. So when you release music, let's say you do get it on EA Sports in the new Madden 2017 or whatever, and you have exclusive rights, then you and the producer will split that percentage of the publishing that comes in from that placement. Okay, that's what a producer wants. So a producer is just not going to come off of exclusive rights easily, because they want to be able to make sure they're still making money off of that. And what they're doing is basically selling it to artists that are just trying to get their start. So they're very reluctant to give those exclusive rights to people. And honestly, $2,000 or $1,000 is nothing, not much at all. But I'm gonna tell you what though, one advice I would give you, Austin, is what you may want to look for is you want to look for a producer that you could possibly come up with. If you let's think about Outkast for an example. Outkast with Organized Noise. They both came up together. Outkast was dope. Organized Noise was dope, but neither one of them have really solidified their fame or their success yet. And they linked up together and they supported each other, because what's good for one is good for the other. Once again, because songwriting is split between who's composing the music and who's writing the lyrics. Boom. So if one of those are successful, the other one's successful with the music they're making. Okay? So keep this in mind too. You don't have to, if you don't have any money, like if you're just, broke right now, then it's probably not a wise idea to do a whole album or something with exclusive beats and you're paying $200 to $300 a pop, unless you got an investor, or if you just came into some money or whatever. What you may want to do, man, is you may want to focus on either doing a leased project, like with leased beats, like maybe an EP or whatever, and then, save up your money so you can at least get some type of promotion and marketing behind that. Then start building up your fan base and hopefully generate enough interest to actually fund your next project, which can be a commercial release. So you could take 4 or 5 tracks on your EP, put that out, and then promote that for like 6 months to a year. I'm talking about heavy, hitting the streets heavy with that project, and you could be giving those away, or you could be allowing people to pay or buy your stuff off iTunes. You could still distribute all your stuff that's leased on like iTunes and stuff like that. But it's just all about your strategy. You could do it that way, or you could save up your money and just focus on one single that's exclusive rights. And you can still try to do commercial stuff with that. You don't have to have 5 or 6 songs out the gate to start building yourself up as an artist. You just need one song. One song is all you need to really start building stuff up. And so it's really all about strategy. I'm working with an artist right now where we're working on his project and all the beats are leased. But we know going into it that our goal with this is not commercial goals. We're not trying to get this placed in movies and commercials. We're trying to build him up a fan base. And then from there, we'll go a commercial route probably on the next album or a project or whatever it is. So hopefully that answers your question and gives you some insight on that. So Rim asked, so I've already asked the question, answered the question about improving freestyle skills. I talked about how to write a hook. What topics are appealing to the public? Honestly, that's not a one size fits all. I think what's more likely to appeal to the public is maybe current events, things that are going on now, things that are current. But there's not something that fits all people. A lot of people, I think a lot of rappers struggle because they feel the pressure of having to appeal to everybody. And it's just not possible. That's an impossible thing. That's just a vain pursuit. You know, I think you should have your audience in mind because you are making music for your audience. If you're trying to make money off music, you want to keep them, in mind when you're making music. And that's really what's more of a better question is what topics are appealing to your audience. Your audience isn't the general public. Your audience is specific because your audience is people like you. The friends that you hang out with, that's likely people your audience is likely like people that you hang out with. What are you interested in? What subcultures are you into? Like I said, is it video game? Is it politics? Is it religion? Is it, cooking? Is it whatever, sports, MMA, fighting, UFC, whatever things that you're into? Look at that and think, okay, now what topics could I talk about to appeal to that audience, this specific niche audience? And I think when you think of it that way, you probably already know what things are popular or trending because that's something you're already familiar with in those different genres. What kind of songs don't die with time? Classics. What makes a song classic, right? That's a good question. I think I don't know that I have the answer for that. I mean, I think songs that are timeless are songs that come from the heart. Songs that may be not so trendy, that are maybe focused on more of the core human nature. One that comes to mind is Tupac, Dear Mama. One of my favorite rap songs of all time. It's actually my mom's ringtone when she calls me. And I'm just thinking about that song when you asked me that question. That's a classic song. And it's not really specific to anything at the time as far as current events. He's talking about his life at the time and stuff like that. But I think that everybody can relate to having love for their mom. So that's something that could have stand the test of time. When I think about classic soul songs like they smiling in your face all the time trying to take your place, them backstabbers. Like, excuse me. But that's something everybody can relate to. Everybody's been stabbed in the back, right? So just being relatable and making a dope song that's relatable to our human nature and stuff that we all experience, I think that has a strong chance of being timeless. That's my best. I'm struggling answering that question, but hopefully that was good enough. Thordox asked, how do you effectively study a rapper? I actually wrote an article about this. If you go to my website and you type in how to study your favorite rappers, check that article out. I go into depth on it. But generally what I would just say real quick is take whatever rapper that you like and ask yourself, what do you like so much about that rapper? What is it about them so much that you like? Figure that out and figure out how they're doing that. Maybe it's their flow. Maybe it's their rhyme schemes. Maybe it's their voice and certain things they're doing with their voice and their energy. So once you figure that out, start looking for patterns. That's the next thing. Start finding patterns. Like how frequently are they making changes doing whatever it is that they're doing, or whatever it is that you like, start studying it and study it in small chunks, because the way you eat an elephant is one piece at a time. Don't try to consume the whole song at one time because you'll probably overwhelm yourself and you won't be able to make as much sense about it. Focus on small sections, maybe 2 bars, maybe 4 bars. Focus on them 4 bars and say, what's going on here that I like so much? And just pay close attention to it. A few rappers that I've done this with is like Field Mob. A lot of people don't know who Field Mob is. They're really popular in the South. Another one of my favorite rap songs of all time, Field Mob featuring CeeLo Green, All I Know. There was also a remix done with T.I. Huge song. It's just one of them songs, every time I listen to it, it just takes me to a place. Love that song. But one thing I picked up on Field Mob is I was like, man, they rap in such a way to where it's almost like they're bending bars. It's almost like they're like leaning out of the bar almost. And that's when I discovered swing and rap, because they really over exaggerated their swing. And that's what I realized I liked about them. And I started studying it and I started mimicking their flow. So I just kind of mumble along with them or memorize their songs and do it with them. I started picking, and then I try to rap those lyrics over other beats and still have that same exact cadence and bending of the bars with the swing. And that's when I learned about swing, and I use swing all the time now. I love it. It's fun. I picked DMX. I picked up on, you know what I'm saying? I picked up on the rap voice. You know what I mean? Like how to put someone with that grit in your voice. You see what I'm saying? For real. You know what I mean? It's going down. You know what I'm saying? I used to mimic DMX, and I learned a lot about energy, just being energetic and just being more, having more passion in my voice when I speak. And that just, not even just with rapping, but that just helps with public speaking in general and things of that nature. So coldmindstudios.com, just use the search function, search for how to study your favorite rapper, and I think that's going to help you out a lot, Thordoc. So thank you so much for your question. And Jack's Hip Hop says, do I have to do anything different when creating cadences when I want to use multis? So yeah, likely so, because your cadence and your lyrics are always battling each other. And what you have to do is get in the middle of them like a referee and moderate things between them so they can play well with each other. And that rapping is really a balancing act, because you're balancing several things at one time. So when you have a cadence and when you have lyrics, so you have cadences already using X amount of notes. You see what I'm saying? And if you already have lyrics, then those aren't going to match likely. So what you have to do is either change the cadence or change the lyrics so they mesh well with each other. So the thing is with rapping is you never want to get too focused on one thing. If you focus only on cadence, then your lyrics will probably suffer. If you only focus on lyrics, then your cadence may suffer. If you only focus on rhyme schemes, then your words may not even make sense anymore because you're just rapping for the sake of rhyming. I mean, we've all heard people do that, right? It sounds good, but they ain't saying nothing. So it's a matter of balancing things out. Check out my video I did. It's the third video in my How to Rap a Verse series on my YouTube channel. And it's called Translating Cadence to Lyrics, and it really breaks all that down on, what makes, ways that you have to compromise between the two. So to answer your question, how do I have to do anything different when creating cadences when I use multis? Yeah, you're going to have to make adjustments to make them work together. So that can mean either, taking out part like certain notes of your cadences or actually adding certain notes to your cadences. If the multis is what you're wanting to make work, then you're going to have to adjust the cadence accordingly. So that's that. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. A lot of really good questions. First hangout on YouTube, and hopefully we can do some more of these in the future. Shout out once again to Monica Mize for holding it down. There's no way I could get to all these questions had she not been doing her thing, Thizzle on her end. So I appreciate that, and thank you for everybody who's participating in the show, man. Y'all rock. Y'all are awesome. I appreciate every single one of y'all, and y'all just hold it down. Feel free to share this stream with other people, and that's it, man. Freestyle Friday going down this Friday. Once again, I'll put links and stuff to certain things I mentioned in this video description afterwards, so other people watching can get to it. So that's it, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and sign up out of here. Y'all take care, and remember, when it comes to rapping, there's no rules. There's only techniques. Peace.